Okay, so here's the last video for this week. This is finishing up right triangle trig ratios, looking at how right triangles come up and the trig ratios we can use with them. And this is a word problem. So in word problems, the main thing we're looking at is things called angles of elevation and angles of depression. So if you think about most of the situations this is we use this trig stuff in, is usually looking up at the sky and seeing something a certain distance away. We want to know how far away it is. We know how much of an angle we've moved our neck up at to look at it. And using that, we're going to try to figure out how high something is or how far away something is. So basically the angle of elevation, so if you think about a point and looking up at something, right? So if you look straight without moving your neck up, that's the horizontal line. Then you turn your neck up to look up at something. That angle that you lift your neck up at, that's called the angle of elevation. You also have something called the angle of depression, which is if you were already up on something and you were looking down. So the angle you'd look down from is the angle of depression. So those are two vocabulary words you'll see a lot in these problems. In this one, we talk about the angle of elevation. So this says you have a parasailer attached to a boat with a rope 72 feet long, and the angle of elevation from the boat to the parasailer is 38 degrees. What is the parasailer's height above the boat? So we know that there's a boat, and a parasailer is attached to the boat. Right, so this is parasailer. That's a really bad drawing for parasailer, but let's say there's a person there. That rope is 72 feet long, and the angle of elevation, so if the boat was just horizontal compared to now the rope going up, this angle is 38 degrees. And we want to know how high up is this parasailer from the boat. So if the boat was over there, how high up? So we make a right triangle in here. And so then we know that we want to know this height, which is the opposite side. And we know the hypotenuse. So opposite and hypotenuse, that relates to the sine ratio. So I know that the sine of 38 degrees needs to be the height divided by 72 feet. So I can solve for height by multiplying by 72 on both sides. And I type that in my calculator. I do 72 times sine of 38 degrees. And that's 44.328 feet. So that's the general idea of these problems. A lot of them are going to be someone's looking up at something and someone's looking down at something. It's this distance away, either horizontally, diagonally, or vertically, and then you'll have to find one of the other sides. Your general strategy, you're always trying to make a right triangle out of it, and then once you have your right triangle, look at which sides you have, figure out which ratio connects them. So usually you'll get two sides, one side that you know, one side that you want to know. So figure out which trig ratio relates those two things. Usually sine, cosine, or tangent. You usually don't use the reciprocal ones for this, so you're going to pick between sine, cosine, or tangent. And then use that ratio to figure out what that distance is. So again, this is why the size of the triangle doesn't matter, because with the angle, if we know the angle and you know one of the side lengths, it'll automatically work and scale up to that triangle size without you having to do anything else for it. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, in our live sessions, we'll go over this some more. You'll be able to sign up for one-on-one sessions during office hours if you need to ask more specific questions. So work on the practice problems and then do the check-in assignment at the end by Friday. And that's the thing that's going to tell you, like, did you understand all of this stuff and do you get it, or what things did you not get? That's going to tell me what things you got and didn't get as well, which will help me plan for the future and help me follow up with any questions that come up. So again, feel free to email with any questions as well as they come up as you're doing this stuff, and then we'll go from there.